and happening in all sectors. But very particular about us is the fact that the president still at Lagos have received many visitors, including some state governors who are, of course, also joined to visit the president. The latest is from Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang, who said on his visit to the president that the security in the state had improved significantly for the year 2024, with no major breaches reported. He was also speaking trying to respond to all of the questions that came across him while he visited the president at his Lagos residence. There are many pertinent questions because as of last year, it looks that Plateau State, at a time like this, we're not in any way rejoicing. But the governor, on his visit, underscores the importance of what differences has it been for last year and this year. Take a listen to what the governor said at Lagos.
Well, thank you. I came to see the president of the country, who has been very concerned about the security situation on the plateau. You would recall that 2023, around this period, Plateau State was mourning, and he has been so concerned, and now that we've been able to celebrate Christmas with relative peace, and we are marching towards the new year, I needed to brief him on what has been happening on the plateau, and of course to discuss other state matters. But the update on the plateau is that things are getting better. Security-wise, certainly we are better off this year than we were last year. Apart from the fact that the security forces on ground are doing their best, we have also invested a lot in technology. We have been able to do a lot of mobilization of communities, and so there is a lot of consciousness, that has kept people aware. And it hasn't been 100%. There have been a few incidences here and there, but on the whole, I can tell you that things are getting better. Well, with the support of Mr. President, I can assure you that we're not going to take our foot off the pedal. We're going to make sure that we cross the T's, dot the I's as far as security is concerned, and make sure that we make it more difficult for criminality to take place within our borders. And so what we are doing is to assure our people, give confidence to Nigerians, particularly those who want to come and invest in the plateau. I want to tell them that the climate is right, the environment is good, and I believe that 2025 will be a better year.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
And that was Governor Mutfwang of Plateau State acknowledging that not all the challenges has been resolved in the state, that few incidents are still occurring in the state. He emphasized that the overall situation looks at it's something that is improving, that with the support of the president, more can be done in respect to the insecurity rather in Plateau State. A lot of attention, a lot of concern about ensuring that peace and confidence in the minds of Nigerians and even investors to also get to also improve the state of foreign direct investment in the country is still a major concern, most especially at a time like this for our economy. So the governor's remarks during the presidential residence in Lagos was also underscoring that you can come, live, invest, and work in Plateau State. That Plateau State is not bleeding, as many have said. And now another concern just today is that the People's Democratic Party has extended condolences to the people of Sokoto State. And following a very tragic death and injuries resulting from an accidental airstrike allegedly conducted by the military. The incident, which occurred in Gina and Sama villages of the Silame local government area, claimed the lives of several civilians and livestock while devastating homes and food silos. Our report has indicated that just on the December 25th, a fighter jet targeting Lakuruwa terrorists mistakenly dropped explosive on residential areas, causing significant casualties and destruction. While the Nigerian Air Force has pledged to carry out a thorough investigation, from the NAV spokesperson, who also maintained that the strikes were based on credible intelligence from multiple sources and confirmatory aerial surveillance. Now, Jos PDP are saying and calling for an immediate, transparent and comprehensive inquiry into the incident to prevent future occurrences and enhance civilian safety in the counter-terrorism operations. These are the questions and concerns that have been raised by the People's Democratic Party in respect to that development in Sokoto State. Tonight, everyone, we'll be looking at the major issues still pending surrounding issues like that we've also just heard from Sokoto State. How well, even with the increase of priorities to the security budget for the 2025 budget that have been presented by the president, it looks that the tension is still being, there's an escalating tension between Nigeria and Niger. I recall that Niger were given some allegations for some form of cooperating with France, in a way of also distorting the peace in Niger. And Ribadu, the National Security Advisor of the country, have also responded to them, saying that Nigeria has no intention of destabilizing Niger. Those concerns has continued to increase a lot of tension between Niger and Nigeria. Tonight on the program, we'll explore those concerns. How important is Niger is to Nigeria? How important is Nigeria to Niger? We kind of emphasize. And if this is coming from the leader of that country, having allegations and showing that he's not comfortable doing business with Nigeria, that it looks that Nigeria trying to make some cooperation to, cause mayhem or attack or whatever in Niger, it has really sparked a lot of concern. Government on the other hand have responded, but it looks that the leader of Niger is still talking tough and insisting that much must be, of course, the concern must be real, and that's the reason why he needed to speak out as he did. Tonight on the program, we've been joined by our TV political and security professional is live here on the show. Professor Ibrahim Ado will be giving us an insight on this happening and, of course, giving us a perspective to all of this broader concern. Thanks so much, Prof, for joining us again tonight on the show, Big Talk. Let's begin with this of Sokoto. The fact that just 25th of December, the military, the NAV officials got some intelligence, because according to what the statement has said, there are a lot of intelligence that they gathered. But, the killing and injury of many civilians has been a concern. In the process of, targeting terrorists, Lakrowa group has been invading into the north. So everyone knows that, yes, the military is trying to tackle them. Do you feel that they didn't manage all of these shows very well?
Thank you very much. The issue is this. When you have an intelligence, you map out a strategy, and not only the strategy, you have to map out a plan work that goes into the operational strategy. Was this done in the first place? Because I doubt it was done, but if it was done, then there wouldn't have been these casualties. Most of the time, we take proactive actions that are detriment to the life of the people. And nobody is ready to take responsibility. If you look at it now, you will see blames and counter blames over the issue when life are lost. So, what is the defense strategies? What were the military action? What are the basics? What are the elements of these strikes? Because you cannot say you want to strike terrorists. The terrorists were not living among the people. So if they were not living among the people, who did the planning? What operational model did you use? What are the strategies applied before deploying the troops? So it is a failure in the part of our personnel, because they can't say this is an error. There is a difference between an error and what has just happened. How many lives were lost. In an error, you can say you sent missiles to an unidentified area, believing that that was the target point. But this one, the village is existing, the town is existing. You cannot say in an unidentified area because it's not a hamlet. So they should explain to us what has really happened.
All right, Prof. I mean, a lot of concern because there are those that have raised questions surrounding that. It looks like we had a similar tragic head strikes in Kaduna, where you look at last year, December 2023. It looks like we've had several events of this kind of nature, but Nigerians always learning, the security, the military always learning a better way of improving, because we can't talk of this, we can't have this conversation if we had a similar tragic event as the last year.
It was not just, it's not just an issue of last year. We have been having this event concurrently. And that is why I said we don't understudy events. We just go on. Because when you don't have a system that has no planning, no strategies, will always fail. Mostly in the security circles. It must fade, and that is where we are saying, and must we continue to tolerate and endure it when some people are feeling the pains. And that is why in the security circle worldwide, they said the insecurity problem will not end because some people has been injured. When they say injured, does not mean your physical injury. You have been injured and you want to what? You want to retaliate.
We really do hope that the security agencies will learn and do this better, and our hearts really goes out to the family that have lost their loved ones. It's really pathetic, and looking at that, really a lot of civilians have been a victim in a way where they were trying to get stories, comprehended. A lot of sad commentary right there coming from Sokoto State. Our hearts goes out to them. Tonight, let's look at Nigeria's escalating tension. Or you look at the fact that it's all started when the junta, leader, already taken over the president, the presidential villa of Niger. Since then, Nigeria have been I've been up and doing that. Recall President Tinubu earlier gave Niger 1 week for them to, do whatever they have to do and reinstate back the president. It looks that has escalated from that conversation to the fact that Nigeria are saying we can be on ourselves, we can do our thing, we do not necessarily need you and all of those concerns. But there are still consideration about trade, looking at the fact that they are our neighbors. There are consideration about security, how better can we stand together with Niger to combat, the security threat, very similar to us and similar to them. But this allegation that they recently gave out has been very troublesome. They have accused Nigeria of facilitating efforts to destabilize the junta nation. Do you feel that there's an element of truth in one or way two things from there?
I will want to go it this way, because of our response system to some allegations, without looking at the allegation and weigh them into what was the reason for those allegations. I will not want to buy it that it is because the president or the Nigeria has the feeling that it's a democratic nation, not changing to a military-ruled nation. The 1 week ultimatum has gone beyond 1 week, beyond a month, up to a year. So it cannot be because of ultimatum. But we should dig deep. Why are they speaking in that vein? And what should be our response? I saw the response of the defense spokesman, and I was surprised because we are supposed to have what we call security and the press. And if you want to look at security and the press, there is what we call propaganda attempts FRICO items and other items that comes to play when you are talking of security and the press. Then you come back again to a subject of defense, security, and diplomacy. We have defense, security, and governance. So if you go very well into this, then you look at what is our response when we have a diplomatic tie with these people. Have we say we don't have any diplomatic tie to them with them again? Then if we are saying because of our affiliation or whatever as a members of ECOWAS, what are the templates of ECOWAS? Because the ECOWAS doctrine that we are preaching today manifests from one Amadou Yusuf Bako, who rubbed minds with Nkrumah of Ghana. And the full documents that establish ECOWAS today, if really looked into, is not what ECOWAS is today. They have politicized ECOWAS. It was a ruling body. Then you go back to the United African Nation, which was the former Organization of African Unity. Then look at the documents that form the AU. Then you find out that we are only coming in to intercede for what we are not supposed to intercede over. We are not looking at what brought us together as ECOWAS communities, as African Union. We are not looking at it at all. It has become a political jamboree where everybody wants to say, I am the president, the chairman or so, and this is what should be done for some reasons unknown. To me, our leader has become agents of the imperialist or the colonialist. We are still feeling very inferior to them. And if we carry on these inferiority complexes, then we don't have a drive to navigate our way as a self-service nation. The National Security Advisor office is supposed to know what to do when these statements are being made. It's not to counter what the head of Niger has said, but to look at the basic concept, looking at our diplomatic tie, looking at what diplomacy means to security and what diplomacy means to defense. Do we need them as our neighbor or not? We are not fighting a war with them. We have severally have military rules in Nigeria. I don't think anybody challenges us any day. And if they have a part of it, then when are you going to hand over? The young man said he will hand over in the next in the next 3 years. So why not give him the benefit of doubt? Has he breached that 3 years? Are his people opposing his leadership?
I mean, don't you think that they are afraid? They have also joined Mali, Burkina Faso, to withdraw themselves and distance themselves entirely from ECOWAS. Does operating military rule means that you should, dissociate yourself from ECOWAS?
I'm coming. What was the ECOWAS statement? I said ECOWAS has been politicized. Go and look at the original document prepared by Amadou Yusuf Bako and looked into by Kwame Nkrumah. When you look at that original document, this is not the ECOWAS they were looking at. It was not for a political jamboree. It was a template that was supposed to build West Africa and indeed Africa into a nation of cognizance. in education, in science, in medicine, in technology. The ECOWAS that was formed that time was an ECOWAS that would have led to the betterment of West Africans, whether francophone or anglophone. But the ECOWAS we have today is a political dimensional ECOWAS. If you know what Nigeria has spent all this while in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in other countries, including South Africa and the rest, it's enough for us to say we are not owing any nation in this world. But do those nations recognize us today? No. So you cannot play a part of a big brother when you don't even know the template of playing a part of a big brother. So Nigerians are playing a part of a big brother without any evidence to show for it.
So would you say that the sanctions, are not justifiable?
Why should you sanction me when you have not heard from me?
You said you ousted the democratically elected government.
And so what? Why should you sanction me when you have not heard from me? Who will see his mother and father suffering and not be very happy that he's comfortable, let the mother and the father suffer, or the siblings should suffer?
Do you feel this was for the common good of Nigerians?
It depends on how the Nigerians take it. The Nigerians take it. Is it better today than what it was yesterday?
So the allegations that we are hosting, one would say, what is our relation with France, for instance?
Let me start from the allegation of France. Total Fina F was doing business in Nigeria. What was the business like in our oil industries? What has it been? Has Nigerians actually benefited from Total Fina F? No, let's put the cards on the floor. Have we benefited so much from Total Fina F? Where is companies like Telewidro? What do they do to the Nigerian economy? Spinbat. All these construction giants. What did they do to the economy of Nigeria? Are we forgetting where we are coming from? Because we are quick to forget histories and their dynamics. You can only move on with people where you know that there is a trade balance. We have never had any index of trade balance with France any day of our life. From the beginning up to today, there is no trade balance. Not even 5% to 95%. So what is the relationship about? Economically, no way. Business, no way. Financially, no way. So why did you have to waste your precious materials with such people? But because of the rules that we have, an inferiority complex, selfishness, and self-centeredness has pushed us to where we are not supposed to find ourselves.
Because they are claiming that the collusion between Nigeria and France, and just as you said, we've not had any previous, good economic benefit between these two nations, like very outstanding right there. But for them to come out to say, we are distorting the agriculture, the pipelines and all of this allegation with the France, would it be that the recent visit of the president to France might give, a justification to this? Or it doesn't mean that President Tinubu's administration is trying to have a conversation with France?
We are having the Trans-Sahara pipeline. Since this issue, the project stopped. So, was that pipeline to the benefit of Nigeria, or it was to the benefit of France? Why did we have to start a project and stop it midway? So they have their fear because this pipeline is supposed to pass through Niger to Libya and go on. If we stop and terminate somewhere, and there was a military coup, which you have to understand the pains of the Nigerians. First of all, what was their pain? Why did they have to take over? Who leader in Nigeria has invited them to say, my brothers, we are all from West Africa. We are all African.
They are sent delegation to that country.
A delegation is different from a calling. The delegation you took there was a delegation coming to threaten you. We are giving you 1 week. We are giving you this ultimatum. That is not a delegation.
So if the mood wasn't diplomatic enough?
Yes. That is not even the time to send anybody.
But if the president couldn't go by himself, he has sent a former military leader, like, I mean, in those capacities that we had visiting Nigeria, they were concerned that they were more of a to have heart-to-heart talk, and the reason for them to come to this understanding.
No, it's just like now. You went home, or somebody visits you, and you have an encounter with your wife and your children, and I'm just stepping in immediately to say you are wrong. How will you feel in the presence of your wife and your children? You look yourself emotionally belittled. That was the situation of that time. That is a very wrong hour to go and approach a man that is already bittered, a man that is in pain. Remember, this same man was working with the president of Niger. He was an in-house person. He was not from the outside. So he knows the inner working. And I don't think it's so inhuman to think that his former master, he must have spoken put in one word or the other that were not accepted. So we shouldn't look at him as a man, looking at him as a coward. Because at that point, it was like looking at a man as a coward or a weakler. So that is the situation, I would say, the Nigerian present leader was looking. But when you look, there's what we call schematic approach in information distillation. So if you are going to dispel informations, you must use schematic approach. There's defense, security, and diplomacy. What of these options did you use? What strategies? So as far as we are not using these strategies and we are not applying what we are supposed to apply, it really has to have some significant effect on us.
All right, Prof. The underlying issues, the Director of Media Operations of the Nigeria Defense, Edward, confirmed to us, the media, that a new terror group emerged from the Republic of Niger after the military coup in the country which led to the breakdown of military cooperation between the Nigerian government and the new military leadership in Niger. Their withdrawal from multinational joint task force, that is the MJTF, that was to tackle the emerging regional crises that already, like the Islamic State and the Al-Qaeda in the Sahel region of this area. Now, it looks that the emergence of this Lakurawa, is becoming a threat to Nigeria, and they are pointing fingers to Niger. So would you feel that the military regime is of benefit or has some beneficiary purpose to Nigeria? If for Nigeria to say, we are not totally in support of this, because look, Nigeria has also practiced military regime, where we became a problem, do we support terrorism and all of this concern?
The Lakurawa, which is now has been in Sokoto for some time, are the Nigerian security and the military not aware, even before the military junta?
They were there in those regions?
Yes. They didn't just start overnight. They were there. And did you know how the surge was moving? The surge was moving, and Chad and Niger were basically covering up for Nigeria. Let the truth be told. So for us to allow them grow to become what they are today is not the fault of Niger or any neighboring nation. It is the fault of our security system, where policing network is not effective, where the information network and intelligence gathering system is not effective, where our efficiency to curb issues are not efficient enough. So when tactical command is being brought and there is overriding command which we know is not working because we don't even have security language, then we should expect what we are expecting now, or what we are getting now. So it's not a surprise or a shock to anybody when these things take place. Unless you are not within the security circle, that you will say, something has happened and it is a shock or it is a surprise. But to me, these people have been here. They have been with us even before the military takeover in Niger. So we shouldn't accuse Niger for Lakurawa in Nigeria. No.
There are many factors that
yes.
contributed to that formation.
Yes. Because the security here they have been using what we call propaganda, security propaganda. And security propaganda is not something that you employ in everyday life. But we use propaganda. And that propaganda promotes a lot of elements, intruding elements, not positive elements. And that is our weakness. And we should come to a situation where we look at these weaknesses and start to extract it from our body system. Human trafficking is not there. Human tracking, not trafficking. Human tracking is not employed. Technology is not employed. In In fact, if you are a security professional in Nigeria, you are in trouble. Because the operational bodies or the managers and administrators of security look at you as a very close or deadly rival. So the system, I don't expect General Edward to come out and say what he has just put in. If he has used security and the press as his element of discussion, good. If he has applied defense and security strategies, good. If he has applied defense and security governance, good. If he has applied defense and security diplomacy, good. But these are not even applied.
All right, Prof, we have to look at what are the way forward to all of this concern, because, look, the role and the importance of regional cooperation is important in combating the many security challenges we are facing. Because those that are asking, should we encourage Niger to join back to the MJTF so that to combat these issues?
You can only make them that. You should be giving me a hand that will make me believe in you, have confidence in you, and trust you and where you are coming from. You should give me that hand. When that hand is not there, then there is nothing that will make me believe in you, have confidence in you, and trust you. So you won't blame the Nigerian leader if he has excused himself from the joint task force. You won't blame him, because we have not extended that hands to him. Nobody has done that. The National Security Advisor on his own, instead of bringing what we call systemic synergy, has even disfigured the whole thing. We have to bring systemic synergy into the security platform for everybody to have to agree to what we are doing. And you should also know about international relations and governance. This is not an internal problem. So you cannot just say I have overriding rules.
So are we? Does it look that Nigeria is prioritizing, ECOWAS sanctions or the leadership, the big brother role they are playing within ECOWAS, more than their own internal security problems?
Very well. We should go back to the main objectives of establishing the ECOWAS. What were the main objectives? We should go back to the main object of establishing ECOWAS. Was the main object for Nigeria to play a big brother role?
Nigeria has always been the centerpiece of Africa.
Yeah, that is why we have so many factors. Fractures, crowding, and other
we wanted the development
dynamics,
of other countries,
which you cannot be so good a big brother when your internal home is in jeopardy. You are disorganized and you want to organize another person.
But the intention was intention genuine, irrespective of the factors?
No. The intention is because we have no leadership structure here. And you want to build a leadership structure for another person. How?
But every time these were working, when we had good resources and all of those support.
we
1970.
were only beating an empty drum when inside us we are actually very empty.
So our content is not too strong enough.
What we look at as our resources, the forecast we have about our resources was more than our internal intakes. So when you are not building on your resources, the resources will go down.
But if other West African get developed or peaceful or economically sustainable, it's also to the beneficiary of Nigerians, because population-wise and all of those factors may be a way to work together.
You know what you are just saying now. It's just like you have a son in the university whose school fees is 1 million naira, and you used to give him maybe 200,000 naira, and he uses his school fees for self-aggrandizement to pay for another person's school fees.
He will come back to the father who may have another one to give.
That is the rule we are playing. We are playing the rule where you know it's not sustainable.
Okay.
It's not comfortable. It's not adequate for you. But you want to play it for people, for self-aggrandizement. That is the rule we are playing. Look at what we put in South Africa. How many billions of dollars? What have we benefited from South Africa? How many billions did we put in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Senegal, in Darfur? How much? This is enough for us to build a strong economy for ourselves. But we use it to play big brother.
More a lot of concern when you look at the escalating effort of government, because government, on the other hand, are saying that 4.91 trillion naira security budget will help Nigeria reclaim all of those and capture the insecurity problems and fighting them. So, government of President Tinubu top charts security as the agenda, and of course, they are moving forward. That's saying that there's more attention to that. But generally, before we wrap up on the show, looking at the highlight of the year 2024, how would you score this government? Because NSA several times speaking in different fora have said we've done better, we've managed insecurity better, issues of kidnapping, issues of terrorism, issue of banditry, all of those issues we used to have at the previous government have been stemmed down gradually from this administration. And it looks that it's committed, that resolute, that totally all of those insecurity problems we are facing today will be totally chased out from the country. Does it look that they have the political will to do all of those things?
No.
With the structures on ground?
No. Unless the government is telling me today that they are dispersing or budgeting about 5 trillion because the security system is going to generate so trillion after 2025. Or they are going to make sure the security challenges are being brought to the lowest minimal. If not, I don't think we have any reason to spend this amount. We shouldn't pay the press not to give the public some informations. Within this period of December, we know how many people that are facing securities challenges, kidnapping and others. If we decide to bring out the data, you will be amazed. But let's take it that there is no nation who really do not want to generate revenue from security that will survive on the government alone. No nation. Security has gone beyond that instant where you say they cannot generate their own revenue. If they are telling us that this budget is to enable Nigeria deploy some technology and some systems that will enable us to generate money from security, I will be one of the happiest people. But or they are going to make sure by 2026 or before the end of 2025 we are not going to hear anything about insecurity in the country, then I will say good one. But they must tell us what are these monies meant for. What is it going to improve in the security system? What is the security organizations going to do that we don't know? What is the timeline for us to expect the predicted changes? Are we going to expect that by March, by June, by September, this is the scale, the scope of, and this is the scope from day one to the last date? If you are not going to tell us all this, we are not telling them to tell us how they are going to achieve it, but this is the achievement, so that we start scoring from day one. In January, they said this will happen, it has happened. In February, this is what they said is going to happen, it has happened. In March, this is what they said is going to happen, it has happened. In April, this is what they said is going to happen, it has happened. In May, this is what they said will happen, it has happened. If you are taking it from state to state or region to region, let's know. Then we'll be relaxed and be observing, so that I can start saying that I can pick up a car by 10 or 12 midnight from Abuja, and I can still get to Kano, to Yola, to Sokoto, to Lagos, and to Calabar without anybody harassing me. So if they are not telling us what they are going to do, and they are not going to make this money generate more revenue for us, then I don't see any reason for these allocations.
Well, that is a promise from government that issues of insecurity will be things of the past. But let me wrap up with the words of the Tijani, the leader of Niger. He said, if an attack were to be undertaken against us, it will not be the walk in the park. Some people seem to think he had warned severally in his televised address over the issues of ECOWAS sanctions, which had included suspension of commercial and financial transactions, blocking critical imports, cutting electricity, resulting in a blackout in Niamey and major cities, which have now been resolved. But there are a lot of concern about this issue of promising to return to civilian within 3 years. Would the president, would the leader of Niger get to respond to that? And with respect to Tijani and all of those concerns, the suspicion has escalated, and then now feels that Nigeria's relation with France, or recent visit of the president either, might have fueled this consideration and this suspicion as well for them to destabilize some peace and some infrastructural development in Niger. All of that has been a top concern. And it was important to have this conversation because we can't talk of addressing our insecurity problems without regional cooperation, and there is a need for those both countries to come together to see how they can resolve these issues. If the defense of the government are not strong enough, or the allegations that have been raised by the Niger government can come to a good table of understanding that creating a regional cooperation can only make us to defeat the enemies of both countries, might be the way forward. The securities agencies are also acknowledged that there's a need to do better. Lives of civilians and life of the people at these regions is at risk. The people of Sokoto State, the people of Kebbi State, and all those regions are crying out for help and a concern that peace must be restored in this area. And of course, we are adding a voice also on the show that government should do all they can to addressing these insecurity problems in this region. That's the size of the show tonight on Big Talk. My name is Odikat Michael. See you again.